So I did a mentorship with Heritage Trust, but because my time with them was limited, I decided to make a presentation over Heritage in general, like its history, a little bit about how it works, and I also did an interview with the founder that I want to talk about. So I'm going to start with the definition of trust banking. And while I have the Investopedia definition pulled up here, trust banking is basically the concept of giving someone else the power to manage a person's finances on that person's behalf. So even though trust banking seems like a very modern idea, the history of trust banking extends really far back before most ancient civilizations, including ancient Egypt. But it wasn't until the time of the Crusades that trust banking became popular as a practice. Because when knights were leaving on their quest for glory, they had to appoint others to manage their finances in their absence. And this is really important because appointing a trustee to manage your finances would help prevent the misuse and abuse of those finances. And also, in the event of the client being unable to carry out their own wishes, the trustee was expected to execute those wishes on that client's behalf. And that notion of putting the client first and always acting in the client's interest helped inspire Bon Payne and Mike Harrell to start Heritage Trust. They wanted to provide a valuable service for those who seek an alternative to big banks. And it's amazing that a company with humble origins, fun fact, Mike and Bon used to operate at the UPO coffee shop, and now they've become so large to have clients in all 50 states. And the merger they recently had with Argent Financial Group only increased its size. So Heritage is made of several different departments, and they can be sorted in 3 levels: the core, the first level support, and the second level support. The trust department, which is composed of relationship managers and associate relationship managers, are considered the core because they're the ones who initiate client contact, who meet the new clients and answer any questions that the client may have, and are just overall responsible for maintaining a good relationship with the client. And because client service is the primary focus of Heritage Trust, the trust department is very important. And that's not to say that other departments don't have their value. The investment department, it manages the client's liquid assets like stocks and bonds. The oil and gas department manages the mineral assets like oil and gas. And they're considered the first level support because they manage the finances. And these departments, marketing, operation, HR, are considered the second level of support because they're responsible for making sure everything's in Heritage is running smoothly. So a typical client meeting who wants Heritage to manage both liquid and mineral assets would have a meeting with a relationship or associate relationship manager, a portfolio manager from the investment team, and a representative from oil and gas. And the relationship manager would lead the meeting while the other 2 representatives answer any questions that the client may have. So a short while ago, I was given the privilege of being able to interview Bon Payne, and I have a list of many things that he's involved in right here. And as you can see, Bon is very involved in the community and generally a very busy man. So I was extremely glad to have the opportunity to speak with him. And this is the list of questions I asked him, which I will go over. So I asked him what he thought set Heritage apart from other trust companies. And he said because Heritage was founded by trust clients, it gave Heritage a different perspective from traditional banks because it's more because of this, Heritage has more of an emphasis on client service, like always putting the client and their needs first. And they help facilitate this by allowing as much local decision-making and local autonomy as possible. Bond said that it was rather difficult for him to recognize talent, like just through a resume or a job interview, because it's really hard to just get to know somebody and on a sheet of paper or just for talking to them for an hour. But he said that he looked for life experience and caring for others because, well, experience obviously gives you a better foundation, but also the more experienced employee tend to be more appreciative of heritage and what it's doing. And the caring for others, I mean, it's always great to be a good person, but also like it helps with heritage always like putting the client's need first, and that's a really important quality to have. So when I asked Bond what some challenges that are specific to heritage trust or trust banking, he said that a lot of them resulted out of the fact that the industry is incredibly competitive. Because of that, they have to constantly increase their value to their clients, manage fee compression, and increase their innovation. And fun fact, Heritage is always trying to be ahead of the curve. So, and they were the first to use low-cost exchange-traded funds like in the whole nation, and now a bunch of other banks are following their model. But they're they're constantly looking to innovate and try new things. So, the main lesson that Bond learned as an entrepreneur and founder of Heritage is that because he has a pioneer personality, he needs to be able to effectively communicate those ideas and visions that he has, because when he didn't take the time to make sure that everyone understood, everyone was on the same page, then problems usually ensue, because if the other teams don't understand what they're trying to do, it's not very easy to do it. And the advice that he gave for young individuals looking to dive into the finance banking world, either as an entrepreneur or employee, he said to, explore, learn as much as you can, like get internships just everywhere. And he didn't put much emphasis on what kind of internship, like what field, because, but he did, but experience in itself is just critical for building a solid foundation. And he also advise getting a good mentor who you can trust to guide you and who you can trust to answer your questions. And he also mentioned that when you're asking questions, it's better to ask them when you're considered new to the company or wherever you're working at, because you get more leeway then. And I have some acknowledgements because I want to thank people. And I want to thank Bond for indulging me in participating in my interview, my mentors Sadia and Robert for guiding me in their advice, Dr. Richards for always driving me to my mentorship, and my family and friends who are always there to love and support me. And I don't think I could have learned so much without all their help, and I want them to know I really appreciate it. Any questions?
Thanks, Julie. Good job. Did someone have a question? I'm curious about one thing. Actually, looks like Dr. Gibbons says, how has this changed how you think about your own personal finances?
It's changed in the fact that I didn't realize like so much was involved in the process. Like actually my parents didn't even give me my own credit card, but I just didn't realize like there was so much like behind the scenes, and it's given me more of an appreciation of like finance.
I'm curious about one thing, Julie. You may have said this, but what's the difference between a trust company like this and just a generic like investment bank or like a stockbroker?
They tend to be more like catered to the company's overall interests than like just the client. Like Heritage prides itself on always like catering to the client's best interest, which helps because Heritage is also a privately owned company, unlike many like federal trust banks or just other like government involved.
Okay, great. Well, thank you. Oh, one more question from Agula. Does Heritage Trust manage hedge funds by any chance?
Which funds?
Hedge funds.
I didn't see it. I know they manage, besides the mineral and liquid, they also manage like real estate, and which is also taken care of by the trust department.
Okay. Great job. Thank you.